Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another live stream. Happy Thursday. I have a very special guest today. I won't hold him too much longer. We're here really to talk about the C50 and ask Paul questions. Paul is a senior technical specialist at Canon Cinema in Canon, USA. Someone that I use as a resource to get technical information from and talk about cameras and get nerdy with. So I'm really honored to have him here today. Before we bring him in, I just want to mention that this will be most likely the last live stream in this studio. I am moving next week, and I will keep you guys posted about my schedule and all that sort of stuff. So I just want to let you know about that. So let me bring in Paul here. Hopefully I have this set up properly. Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
This is an honor to have you
Okay.
here, honestly. I know we talked about this like a year and change
Yeah.
ago, but
Well, I appreciate. I really wanted to come on last week, and so I have to apologize to everybody because I'm a little under the weather right now. But last week I was really under the weather, so that's why I couldn't come last week. But I'm glad I was able to jump on today. So
well, we really appreciate that. And just to let everybody know, I did bug Paul like immediately. I was like, hey, let's do a live stream. He's like, I can't, man. So we made it work this week. So I'm glad you're here. Um, so I
thank
think
you.
generally, probably, I usually make these live streams to be available to the community to take questions for myself. Like usually I do this every week, but here I just want to allow this opportunity for my community to interact with you and interact with Canon. So the
Well,
first thing is, I think we'll mainly talk about the C50. Let's talk about that first, and then obviously, like, I'm really excited about it. I pre-ordered one. I can't wait to get my hands on it as a Canon shooter. I have a couple things I want to ask you about, and then we'll open up to questions.
mm.
So Paul, I just want to open up kind of broadly, like, what do you like about the camera? What are you most excited about with the new camera?
Yeah, I've had it for a little bit now, and I've had a chance to use it. I mean, the size. I really I really like the size of it, and actually more so than even the size is the button placement of it. Um, I feel like one thing that with the R5C, R5C felt fine to me, but I felt like kind of the joystick and everything was not where I wanted it to be. They did some very slight repositioning of a lot of the buttons, and it just feels a lot more natural to me in my hand. So I've been enjoying that quite a bit. The top handle is great. I'm very, very happy with it. Um, I'm just happy that they've added the zoom controls on both the body and the top handle. Um, apologize. Um, I've been using that a lot actually.
So
Um,
is that work with all
so
the lenses that have built-in zooms?
so it's yeah. So basically, you can use any lens that has servo controls. So a Cine servo, the EF compact servos, and then the 70 to 200 and the 24 to 105 2.8s that have the PZ E2B or E2 and E2B. Um, if those are attached to that, you can use those. But there's also a digital zoom mode as well, and that allows you to basically zoom through the resolution of the sensor.
Okay.
It's up to a 4 times magnification, and that will work with any RF lens that you pop on there. Um,
Can you like limit
and
that so like
so,
you can only zoom into Super 35 or something like that?
hmm, so there's direct teleconverter options that you've probably seen in like the C80 and everything like that. But off the top of my head, I can't remember in the
That
menu if you can limit it. I don't think you can.
that would be
I
cool
think
because then
it's
you know
your
you're not
limit is
pushing
like
past
20.
4K. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Okay.
That's good. Something I'm going to write down in my
Yeah.
book.
So just
So,
so everybody knows, Paul is taking notes and he's going to give feedback. So it doesn't mean we're going to get everything we ask for, but he likes to hear feedback. So we will. Sorry, I cut you off there. What else? What else are you sort of excited about the new camera?
um, yeah. Again, it really came down to just how you know, how easily I was able to move with it. Which I know there's a we've made a lot of small cameras. We have a whole line of mirrorless cameras, everything like that. But for this, I don't know. I felt very connected to it because I am so connected to the C70, basically, um, which is I think kind of my personal favorite camera. But I felt like this was a very nice like transition to a smaller body in a way. So um,
Well, I'm excited about the smaller
but
body. I think
yeah,
we've all like been asking for the Canon FX3 for many years now. Just very compact, reliable camera.
yeah,
How do you feel about the image
yeah.
on this
Weight wise,
camera,
I mean,
Paul? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say about the weight was that it's less than half the weight of a C70 or C80. Um, so it's small. Also, one thing I gotta say is I'm not sure how much you've talked about this, but the battery life on it is much improved over what the R5C was doing. And I think anybody out there who has an R5C, who's using R5C, I think the main point of contention has always been the battery life with that camera. Um, the LPE and H batteries are just not pushing, a lot of milliamp hours there. The LPE 6P batteries that you get with this new camera are the same ones that we have for the R5 Mark II. And yeah, I just see it. Just the battery life is, I mean, up to, I think in one of my test runs of it, like up to like 55 minutes more than I was getting out of the older batteries,
Yeah.
which
So
is
I
significant,
okay.
you
So
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
when I swapped over and tried out the new Canon the E6P batteries
yeah,
on the R5C, I got an extra like 50% runtime with the new firmware. Are we gonna
yeah. This
see
one,
better improvement, like more life than the R5C?
it's a little bit more than that,
That's
even.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I worked on I worked on like B and H's video. Like I didn't work on, but I was there on set. I was the client on B and H's video for their thing, and uh, they ran their BTS C50 the whole day on just two batteries, and I
Okay.
was very pleased to see that. Yeah, so
That's awesome. Um,
big thing.
what? Because I know there was a big criticism about the R5C was the battery. Obviously, you guys, it's changed.
Mm.
Honestly, the new battery and the new firmware has given a lot new life to that camera. Like it actually acts as
Yeah.
like it actually runs longer than the R5 too.
Oh,
From my
good.
testing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. So
yeah.
that. How are you feeling about the image on the camera? Have you got to shoot with it a bunch and play with the footage, or like, have you gone down that road too much?
I haven't done as deep of a dive yet as I usually do in these cameras, just because I've only had it for a little bit on it. Um, what I've seen, I've put the raw, and also the at this point right now, none of the editing systems have updated for it, so yeah, you can't really attack it in DaVinci yet, the files.
The raw
So
files,
you
you
have
mean?
to basically, yeah, just because there has to be an update for it, which will come, which will of course be ready by the time the camera ships. Um, that's not a thing. However, using it, I use the Canon RAW developer software, um, and so using that and everything, yeah, I'm not sure I'm trying to you know to quantify this a little bit, but um, I think it's a nice image. I think it feels like a that C400 C80 image in a way. Um, I don't think anybody will be like surprised.
Okay.
It's not going to be it's not going to be a big shock in terms of color reproduction or anything like that if you're used to the Canon ecosystem
In
and things
similar
like
amounts of
that.
dynamic range.
So, similar amounts. I think if you're again, like we can think about it in terms of like similar to the C500 C400 C80. I think the DGO sensor is still kind of like reigns supreme in that regard when we talk about that. But yeah.
I want to ask you about the second base ISO of 6400. Do you know about any of the decision about why that was pushed up so high?
I don't know about the decision making there. I actually like it. I like having the second base be 64, um, because on the triple base ISO you have 800, 3200, and then it jumps to 12,800, right? Um, and I just found that the 6400 seemed to be, when I pulled it down to 3200 from there, I was like, oh, this is very nice. This is a nice place to live with that.
Okay.
Um, so I like it. Yeah, I think it's going to be a usable spot to put it in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about OpenGate because I know that's a huge feature. And the one thing that I was hoping for, and I think a lot of people, one criticism that I heard a lot and obviously hit me pretty hard quickly was not having a smaller bitrate option in OpenGate. So to have like an oversampled 4K mode or even some sort of 4K mode. So yes, I know if like you're shooting anamorphic or really high quality, you want that bit rate. But if you're just shooting OpenGate for reframing purposes, which a lot of people are going to do, it'd be nice to have like a basic 150, 200 megabit per second or 250 megabit, somewhere in there, like, compressed codec.
Yeah, understandable. There is the XF HEVC option,
Okay.
so that will bump your bitrate down quite considerably compared to
It's
the RAW.
still 7K though,
It's
right?
still it's still 7K. It's still going to be a big file, but
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's good feedback.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be, honestly, that was probably my biggest thing that I was like, I would like to shoot OpenGate more often, but we don't always want to shoot it, whatever it is, like over 1,000 megabits per second. I forget what the data rate was.
Yeah, I'd have to pull up. I might do that actually. I'm gonna pull up my bitrate chart here.
So the big question about OpenGate, of course, comes to other cameras, and I know that you guys announced the plans for a firmware update for the C400 to get OpenGate, and everyone's excited about that. But then the question is, Paul, what about this guy? Can you give us a statement about that, or what the plan is, or no plan?
Yeah, basically what we've been told is that it comes down to the transfer rate of the SD cards, and that it was the CF Express cards were able to open it up, but they weren't able to do it with the SD card. So
yeah,
that is what I can say.
You could see how frustrating a C80 owner would probably be at that news, especially because I think that's something we're kind of upset about with the SD cards. Is there an option to somehow, I don't know, maybe you guys are looking at it, maybe it's not possible, to somehow squeeze the data rate down enough to make it work in some way?
Again, it's something that I'm sure they're taking a look at. Like you said, again, it's talking about the bit rates, right? Getting those bit rates down.
Yep.
So, the magic number with the SD cards is 675 megabits per second and below.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the number they got to squeeze into. So.
All right, so push for that lower bit rate option in OpenGate, and then we can put it in both cameras, Paul. That's what we need.
All right, let's ask for it.
I'm trying here, guys. I'm trying.
Great feedback.
All right, I have two more questions, then I want to open it up to a couple more things. What about RAW out over HDMI? Is that going to be a thing? Is that going to be supported by Atomos? You guys has that even been discussed?
That is not in the C50.
So no RAW output over HDMI.
No RAW output over HDMI in the C50. Yeah.
Okay, well that clears that up. Now there's one spec that I heard about that was being talked about too, was that there's more dynamic range in Super 35 mode than there is in full frame mode.
Yeah, interesting.
Do you know the tech behind that?
I honestly have not been able to drill down deep enough to figure that out yet.
Okay.
So I have not, and explicitly, what we've been told is pretty much exactly what you've been told in that regard. Is that in Super 35 millimeter, there appears to be a stop more dynamic range than there is in full frame.
Have you speculated why that's the case, or you're not going to go there?
Speculation-wise, I'm not gonna go there. I mean, besides just whatever is the construction of the sensor, I'm not going to try, honestly.
Okay. Okay. I
I
know we've
apologize
some.
there.
So, no, it's. I know
You know,
you can't speculate. But it was an interesting thing, and I
yeah.
was curious about what would technically make that happen because technically, like if you're using a smaller part of the sensor, theoretically you
hmm
should get the same amount of dynamic range.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting. It's something I really hope to find out
Okay.
down the line there. So,
Cool. Before I open up
yeah.
to questions, Paul, what do you not like about the camera?
Um, this is going to sound weird, but I actually used the camera for stills quite a bit one weekend.
Okay.
Um, and one thing I really wanted, and I've kind of like, I'm sure the product people in Japan are tired of me sending this email to them, but I really wanted to be able to fire the shutter from the top handle in still mode,
Okay, that
and
makes
you can't
sense.
do it, you know. So I wanted to keep that top handle on there, even though I was taking stills, and be able to just hold it and still be able to take photos using that that button. For some reason, it's not active. Um, I really would really like that. Um, um, Other than that, the you know it's crazy because I a lot of the issues I had with the R5C have been fixed a little bit. I mean, okay, number no viewfinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, which obviously places this camera more it heavily towards the video side of things than towards the still side of things, right? Um, Whereas I think with the R5C, there was always, what we talk about was that you have the two sides of the coin. You have the photo side and the still side. You have the viewfinder. You got the LCD screen. You have all those options. But it's when you take that viewfinder away, it really does change your relationship to the camera. And it just definitely makes it like, okay, this is much more video orientated than it is for the still side. And the still side is nice. Um, it's very powerful. I mean, you have 40 frames a second on the still side, which is really cool. Um, but it's just you know, you you want that viewfinder, of course. So so it's more heavily like I think if I talk when I talk to people and I kind of really try to gauge with them like if they're looking for a camera that's both still and video focused, kind of gauge like how much are you looking for, like how much stills do you do, how much video do you do. It's kind of the dance I play with people, and then really kind of nail down, and I think this is definitely more for the video side, with the stills being this is cool that I have this option, you know.
So it was interesting because there
Yeah.
was discussion about this too. Because I don't really do much photography at all, so I don't really care what the camera does on the photo side. But I know a lot of people do. And I thought when the
Yeah,
R5C came out, it was the first camera in the cinema line that also took photos. And so,
yeah,
unless that's true, right? I think so.
that's
And
true.
so,
Yep, yep.
yeah. And so when this came out, people were complaining about the photo specs, and I'm like, they could have just not put photo in this camera, and it been like a mini C80, and it would have been fine as well if it was just a video camera. So I feel like the photo is
Right.
kind of a bonus in a lot of ways.
Yeah, yeah. I think for this particular camera, I think for the R5C, you could definitely see it as like half half. And on this one, you can definitely see the photo side as being like, oh, it's great that I have that option. Now, if only I could take the picture with the top handle.
And that's it. Just that's your only
So,
gripe about the camera, is just the top handle button for photo. Come on, Paul. You got some
no,
more
I mean,
gripes.
look, no. I mean, as we go, as I go on and I start using it more,
Okay.
and everything, I do think here's the one thing is that, I've been through these products since the original C300, right? Um, and for me, like the C70 and C80, when we hit that battery life like threshold on those cameras, I just feel like I've been spoiled by that, right? Like being able to plug in one of your BPA batteries into that camera and just go with it. Um, so I think for me, everything, you know, even though this I talk, this does have excellent battery life for what it is. it's still not going to touch your C80 or your C70 in that regard.
Yeah.
So I there's an option. So we have a battery grip, the BGR20 battery grip, which is the same one that they have for the R5 Mark II. That will also work on this camera, and you can put in two of the LPE6P batteries into that.
So this guy here.
Yeah, there you go. So
Okay.
yeah, that will give you some more battery life there.
Although it'll probably look kind of funky,
Um,
right, with that
but
different body.
it is. I mean, if it's in and everything like that, but it does look interesting. Yeah,
Okay, but it works.
because obviously it works. Yeah, the camera's a
Okay.
little bit more square, squarish, right? It's a little more angular. It's not as angular as our normal mirrorless cameras are.
Um, and I forgot to ask, what about? Okay, so you said no open gate on the C80 because of the SD cards. What about the R5C? Can
Yeah.
we get open gate on that camera?
I'm
You
going to
guys are
put it
opening a
down in my
can of worms
notebook,
here.
but
Yeah, put it down. He's not really writing it down. You guys see that? He's not really writing it down. Because I know these are questions. I got a lot of R5C users that follow this channel, so questions about that. And it seems like from what you just said.
No, all I'm going to say is that it's definitely something that people have been asking for. Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
And from what you just said about the nature of the R5C versus the C50 being 50-50 with the R5C and then more video focus on the C50, it seems like that camera is going to be hanging around for a while in your lineup. Is that a fair assumption?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think kind of what I'm seeing is I kind of see like our cinema lineup has kind of I think you can see where it's going a little bit, right? I think we've hit with the C400, C80, and C50. I kind of think that we're going to have these three tiers of cameras for a little bit going on. So, but man, I mean, this camera came out of nowhere, right? Like it's we just had the C400 and the C80 come out, so in another year we had another camera come out. So I'm hoping this camera sticks around for a while.
I mean, the cameras usually do stick around for a while. I mean, the C70 is still being used and being purchased, and so yeah, I know you can't tell me what's coming, so I'm not even going to ask. But I was just kind of curious if the R5C is going to continue to get support and those sorts of things, because I know there's a lot of people that still love that camera.
I mean, we just announced a firmware update for that includes it, and I hope so. I hope so that I kind of see that it's actually interesting. This is the first firmware update we've done that's RF camera only. So
okay.
It doesn't have the C500s or the C300s in the firmware updates. So yeah. So I don't know if I don't know if that's going to portend to anything, but
okay.
But I think it's still very much in the loop for sure, because the R5C still has some incredible capabilities. I mean, just the resolution wise, it's still our highest resolution sensor. Yeah.
Okay. So. I know you probably can't answer this, but are we going to see the C50 sensor in another camera?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, let me get into some questions here. A lot of people have been hanging out, and we've just been chatting. I think we could just chat for probably an hour and a half about, but I want to make sure that. So Kazi, what's up, dude? When's the C50 being released? It said end of November. Is that correct, Paul?
So yeah, everything I've heard is end of November, but I don't have an exact release date for it.
Okay. Yeah. And Max in here, what are the limitations on the reframing functionality? So I'm guessing that's where you shoot horizontal and vertical at the same time?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one, actually. So the limitations are, first of all, it's not from the open gate. So it's from the regular full frame 17:9, and it's only during XF AVC or XF HEVC. So you can't do it from RAW. And on top of that, it is the vertical aspect ratio conforms to the aspect ratio that you're shooting horizontally. And so what I mean by that is if I'm shooting 17:9, then my vertical aspect ratio is 9:17. If I'm shooting 16:9, then it's 9:16. Now there is the option to do a 1:1
resolution of the sensor, or does it pull it off of that 17:9 image?
It's pulled off of the 17:9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
So that's why I say it's not from the open gate. It's not from the full 3:2 aspect ratio.
Okay. And then are there limitations on what
Yeah.
that vertical resolution can be? Is it like only like 2K or something, or is it you can get enough? I don't know what the resolution is like on that.
It's basically 2K.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. And then I'm thinking about other limitations. Are there frame rate limitations on that too?
I believe it's up to 60. Yeah, I would have to check my notes, but
Okay. Mac did
yeah,
specify.
I
I'm
don't
trying to
think
think
you
about
do.
all the limitations.
Yeah.
How about, is there a way that you guys are going to sell the C50 without the top handle? Is that going to be an option, do you think?
No plans for that as of now.
Okay. And you can't use the top handle on other cameras, correct?
No. It's C50, married to that camera.
Okay. Just checking through the questions here. I'm skipping over things that are just comments. I just wanted to. YouTube video said the C50 reframing on the second aspect ratio will be at 1080p. That's what we said, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people asking about Nikon. I don't think Paul's going to answer those questions. All right. Hey, Brian's got a question for you. Hey, Paul, the C80 400 sensor is curiously the same size, resolution, pitch, even scan speed as the R3, especially since the C80 will probably never use the entire height SD card limitations like we said. Is it the R3? He's wondering, is the R3 sensor the same sensor as the 80 and the 400? We've kind of all been curious about this.
It's very similar, right? I have no confirmation on that, so. Yeah.
So you're giving us a non-answer, is that right, Paul? I'm going to grill you here, man. I'm sorry. It's a non-answer.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I'll be straight up with you. It's a non-answer. So.
Okay. Sorry, Brian. He's not going to answer your question. For a wedding and real estate photographer, would you recommend the C50 or the R5C?
This is a good question.
It says photographer.
And I think, yeah. I guess it depends. It depends on how much photography you're doing there. Again, the EVF on the R5C is really nice. It's really nice to have that. And the resolution, the 45 megapixels, versus it's 32 megapixels on the C50. So, excuse me, it's a jump there in case you need that resolution or not. But I guess it depends on how much video you're doing, as well. Because I think if I was doing, more video, with a little bit of stills, I might find the C50 just to feel better for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm with Canon cameras. They've been in the business forever. Their quality is top notch. Thanks, Tom. All right, Brian's got another question. He wants to know, what is SRAW exactly? Paul, we've talked about this. It's never been answered. We can assume it's not oversampled because it's soft and has more moire artifacts, but how is the sensor being descaled?
It's also, we've talked a lot about this, right? I'm still in the same spot since the last time you and I talked about it. They just will not tell me what's going on with SRAW. And so unfortunately, it just leads us to speculation, you know, and I just can't go down that road.
Okay.
So I apologize. It's something I'm still want to know. I still badly want to know what's going on or like how they do it, you know. So, um, you know, I'm going to push. I'm going to push to get an answer, and you know, hopefully I can come back when
Okay.
I do.
All right. Write that. You writing that down, or
You know,
I'm just kidding. Messing with you, Paul. um.
I
s-
I've had it written down.
Okay. All right. So is SRAW that only went in the R5 too, right? Was that in any other cameras?
No, only the R5 Mark II.
All right, because I shot with it on a gig and I got some crazy moire and artifacts, like stuff that's like I didn't really understand what was going on. Um, and I was shooting at 4K 60, and the camera overheated on me several times. I was shooting inside, and so I was just like, I'm not using this anymore. But I like the XF AVC, you know. But and just to clarify something else about the C50 that I'm thinking about it, it's oversampled only till 4K 60, right? 4K 120 is not oversampled.
The C50 actually it's 4K 30 is where it's oversampled to.
It's not oversampled in 4K 60 because I saw that on your website. So
No. So well, that may be an issue with our website then.
okay,
So
so that's a big deal, Paul. If that's
yeah, if you see that, if you see that, you know, can I? I'm going to pull that up because that's something I need to take a look at and see.
because I was actually talking with one of your colleagues about this,
Mhm.
and I saw it on the website, so I was like, okay, yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And this is on Canon USA, Paul. I'm not making that mistake again.
No,
Um,
I'm going to look it up too as well.
yeah, it says here including oversampled 4K 60.
That is an issue. So I need to talk to somebody about that.
So you were told otherwise, so it may
Yep.
not be oversampled.
Yes. Oversampled 4K 30
Okay. Well, hopefully we get an
is
answer to
what
that
I
because that's a
am
big
going to
deal
say.
for me personally.
So, yeah. Hmm.
All right, and just letting you know, I'm on the Canon USA page here. I found some like bad specs on other countries. Remember that, Paul? Oops, wrong thing here. Let's see here. The non-oversampled 4K 60, if that is the case, is going to be a big deal for someone like myself. So,
Hmm.
um, let's see here.
No, it's yeah, definitely.
Canon at
Yeah, I'm
7K or
going.
6K open gate at 60 frames per second. Is that a limitation of the sensor to not go above
So
30 frames a second?
I am unsure, to be honest.
Okay.
It's something that it's definitely feedback. So
And no mechanical shutter in the C50?
no mechanical shutter. That's correct.
Okay. Bird of Prey wants to also know about SRAW. Lots of questions about SRAW.
Yes.
Mr. Ola wants you to chime in on the debate about IBIS. Now, I made a statement in my video about
Yeah.
IBIS and how I personally feel about it. Um, I don't think we need to talk about like when you need to use it and when not to use it, but is there a decision that the company sort of made from a business perspective to not include it, or what was the sort of rationale behind not including it, I should ask?
Yeah, I think again, I don't have the exact rationale from the engineers in Japan, but what I'm going to speculate on this one because we do, for the cinema line, we do a lot of feedback with, people from just various, parts of the industry. Um, and for a lot of the people for drones, for a lot of car mount people, a lot of jib operators, a lot of the people they interviewed, they did not want IBIS in their cameras. And so that was and again, this is me speculating again, but I think that's kind of the thread, is that you have a lot of these people working on these productions and everything like that, and they do not want IBIS anywhere near their cameras, and so that's kind of believe where that comes from.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as a cinema camera, it makes sense to me to not have IBIS. Most cinema cameras don't have IBIS for the reasons that most people that are using those cameras don't want it. I personally don't want IBIS in this camera, but I'm part of the market for this camera. But I think there's an argument also that if like they did put IBIS in it, it might reach more people. More people might want to buy it.
I think there's an argument for both sides, absolutely.
Okay.
So.
Are you happy it's in there or not, or does it?
I've never been a person with IBIS. I've always been on the no IBIS side, but you know what? I'm sure I'd be happy too if it was in there. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of your Cine cameras offer IBIS. That's true. Okay. Is there any chance the VCM lenses will get wider than 20? I'd love a 12 or 14.
I hope so.
Okay.
And the only thing, again, the only thing I can offer anything there. I don't know anything, but I look at the lineup of the focal lengths that are coming out, and I look at the lineup of focal lengths that have been, so another series of lenses, and that's it. Yeah.
Been using the XF605 for years for live streaming of high school sports. A lot of schools want the Instagram cine reels I've been getting by the C50. It seems perfect. How is the autofocus for sports?
The autofocus is awesome on the C50. I've been pleased with what I've used so far. It is, going to be similar to your C80 or C400 autofocus, but it's going to be better than your R5C autofocus or the previous, or the C70 autofocus. So it's still, the video side autofocus still doesn't get as into the minutia as like the still side autofocus, but yeah, I think you'd be really happy. I think it would probably be better than the 605 XF605.
So the autofocus in the 50 is pretty identical to the 80 and the 400.
Yeah, they've added bird tracking into it.
Oh, they did. Okay.
Yeah. So now on the video side, they have bird tracking.
So they just had animals. Like my 80 only has like animals. It has animals and birds.
Yes. So the animals on the C80 and the C400 are basically like the four-legged variety. So your cats and your dogs. And then they didn't have a special algorithm for the birds, but they added that into the C50.
Okay.
So.
I know there's been requests for other subject tracking, like vehicle tracking. Is that something you guys are considering?
Absolutely. Definitely something that we've been pushing for. So,
okay.
I'm hoping that that will come at some point.
Okay.
But that's my personal hope there. So
yeah, for sure. What are the rolling shutter or readout times across different resolutions and frame rates, especially in open gate?
I don't have the info. I just don't have the numbers. So you might have to wait for somebody else
for me to test it. Well, I'll test it when I get it, Mac. I'll test it when I get it. Let's see here. R5C with the new battery 130, C50 150, maybe 2 hour. Okay, that's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Okay. But seriously, you don't want IBIS for cinema cameras. Yep. And then also power and heat consumption as well with IBIS.
Yeah. It's one all those considerations, right?
All right, so Ryan wants to talk about the R5C CLog 2 emission. Are you guys getting like the dynamic range very close between it and the R5.2? Will you guys ever unlock CLog 2 on the R5C?
Man,
it's probably your most asked question.
Again,
right?
it from day one. of the camera. Yeah, from day one, it's been the most asked for feedback, and um, it's just, again, it's just something that we keep asking for, and you never know. But I don't have any information as to whether or not that will come or not. You know, and yeah, I also would like it in there as well.
That would change that camera
Oh,
drastically. Like that would make that camera way more
yeah.
valuable to a lot of people.
Oh. Yeah, it's tough because when you shoot raw on that camera, you can rescale for C-Log too. Um, so yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I
but if you're
agree.
shooting 8K 60 RAW, like my computer like lights up on fire too, and
Yeah,
um,
it's not very practical, right?
maybe we'll get the
So
SRAW in there. No, probably not. I'm just kidding. Okay. Let's see. In the higher codecs, I only saw long op and not interframe. Is this not a big deal since OpenGate is in place?
now there's interframes. Oh, is he talking about the open gate? Because the open gate uses the HEVC, which is a by nature a long op codec. Um, you know, the XF there's still interframe for all your levels of that there. Um,
Okay. I have a follow-up question to
yeah.
that. Um, can
Yes.
you explain the difference with some of these codecs? I know that like I've been using XFAVC forever, and the HEVC
Hmm.
is the H.265 long op, correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. What and that's the HEVC S. What's the S on the end of that codec stand for?
So the now this is interesting. So the S is it's just a reformulation of that codec. So it's an MP4 version of that codec. Um, and basically what the issue was before we just had RAW and we had XFAVC, and then we had our MP4 codec, right? And the MP4 codec had its own file structure, its own file name structure, file names and everything like that. And no metadata or anything like that. This is now, and these XFAVCS is now H.264 codec, like XFAVC, but it's .mp4, but it retains the file name and the file structure and the metadata as well.
Okay, so that's like the old
Of also,
MP4
yeah,
option.
exactly. But now with actually usable in terms of like, matching up file names and everything like that.
Okay.
With different codecs. So now all the codecs in the camera all share the same file name and file structure. So if you're having to mix and match proxies or sub-recorded files, that can all be done much easier than it used to be, where you had like, you would have like the 25 string name of the XFAVC, and then the 4 string name of the .mp4, right? So, um,
So
you know,
what's the
and
difference then between those codecs, by the way?
there's also a little bit more compression as well
Okay.
on the S ones. So you definitely have much lower bitrate options there. So
Okay. And then, like you said,
yeah,
the XF H or XF EVCS, that's the H.265.
H.264 is the AVCS. HEVC is the
H.
H.265.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Got it.
and
Okay.
it's high efficiency video codec is the HEVC.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I didn't know because I'm used to like this raw XFAVC MP4
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's in the R5C and C70, I believe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. But then I
Correct.
started seeing these show
Yeah,
up in like the new R52 and stuff, and I got confused.
we introduced them with the C400s, and then since then we put it into C80, C50, R5 Mark II, R1 has them as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one asking about the R5C open gate. Oh man, people are
No,
brutal.
you're definitely not the only one.
I know.
Yeah.
Um,
No, it's
all right, that's a great point. Is this camera seems marketed more towards content creators as opposed to DPs, so emitting a low bitrate open gate does make sense from a marketing standpoint. That's kind of what I was saying before, Paul, about the lower bitrate open gate.
yeah, it's great. It's great feedback. Absolutely.
What about doing that open gate workflow and use an Atomos recorder? We talked about. Well, I asked you about RAW. Can you get non-RAW 7K open gate?
You can not 7K. You can do it's 4K, 4K up to 60, 10-bit 422 output.
Like 17 by 9, 16 by 9, not the open gate.
Huh.
Because that could be a
Should be open
workaround.
gate.
Because you could shoot
That
like
might be. Yeah, that should be doable.
okay,
Then
so like if
you
you
should
had
be
an
able. Yeah.
Atomos, you could record an H.265 in 7K open gate. No, 4K.
So you'd be outputting 4K 10-bit 422,
Okay.
but that would also help with your file sizes as well.
Yeah. But not RAW.
But not the RAW. Yeah, so you
Okay.
wouldn't be able to do your ProRes RAW out of that.
But it'll do 3x2 over HDMI?
It should. I don't see why not. But you know what? It's funny. I don't have my camera with me. I would test this out right now. I don't know why I didn't test this before, but you know what? I will take a let me take a skim, just a quick skim through my my notes here. Let's see. There's also, the thing is that the HDMI might also be constrained to that 17 by 9
Over HDMI?
over HDMI. Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be, I think that would be the major holdup. And just see if I could confirm that for you or not. But I mean, that would be cool if we could output the 3.2 image, right?
Yeah, it would be cool. Give people options.
Yeah.
This is back to what we were talking before. Saw somewhere that in Super 35 the camera has DGO, but you said you don't know how they're doing the extra dynamic range.
Okay. No, yeah, definitely no DGO in the sensor. And again, I have no information as to what the deal is there, except that it is different. So,
will there be a playback LUT for CLog 2 on the C80?
The firmware we announced.
That adds it in?
That firmware will give you your, yeah.
Okay. That was a weird omission that was bothering a lot of people.
Yeah. That gives you your view assist for playback on the C80. So.
And that firmware's out already or coming out soon?
No, coming out around the same time that this camera ships. So.
Okay.
C50 ships, yeah.
Okay. Good to know that that's being addressed. I know for me personally, like I was out on a shoot a couple weeks ago, and the client's like, "Oh, let me see the clip. Let me see that clip." And then I'm like, "There's no color on it. Sorry." They're like, "Okay." They like were confused. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Makes me feel like the C50 really isn't going to be a very capable camera for wedding hybrid shooters. I mean, we were talking about before how it could be. So.
I think so. Again, it just depends on how attached to the EVF you are. If you find that yourself, workflow where you're able to shoot stills off the LCD screen, I think it's a very, very capable still camera in that regard. So I think that's the major holdup with it is the EVF. So.
It'll be nice having the audio options too. With the top handle on the C50.
Yeah.
As a hybrid shooter. 22 stops of dynamic range? What are you talking about, Mac? Alexander's putting it on you, Paul. Panasonic can do open gate to an SD card than Canon can. Oh man.
So yeah, I'm going to say unfortunately about that open gates HDMI output. It looks like we are constrained to a DCI or uh, UHD output
Over
in
HDMI.
terms of aspect ratio
Okay.
over HDMI. Yeah.
I was going to say to Alex's comment, Panasonic does it, but I think they limit it to 420 instead of 422, if I believe. So that would definitely change things. Unless they change that in the new cameras. I haven't tried their new cameras. How do we feel about 8K 60 and HEVC? While it may not seem silly, like not having that mode did feel a little disappointing, like 7K 60 on the R5C. I'm a little confused by this question. Does this make sense to you, Paul?
That's an option that you can do on the R5 Mark II 8K. Or you can also, I guess you can also shoot that on the R5C, right? So
you can shoot 8K 60 and non-RAW on the R5C?
yeah, don't quote me on that. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to get mixed up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameras, I know.
Yeah.
I would like to see more cameras doing 8K and not...
7K 60. Sorry, go on.
Go ahead, Paul. What were you say? 7K 60?
7K 60 is an option on the R50. Or sorry, the R50, the C50.
Okay. In non-RAW?
No, that's going to be just RAW. So I see where you're going for. If we have an HEV, okay. Asking for a non-RAW option.
Yeah, I mean, I know Sony in like their A1, they can let you do 8K 30 and MP4 or something like that, and not shoot RAW,
right?
Shoot RAW internal. So yeah, I guess people are just looking for lower bitrate options. Oh. Sounds like Paul's headphones died. I can't hear him. I can't hear you. All right, we'll give Paul a second here while he sorts his stuff out. I appreciate everybody coming by today and hanging out. And this has been really cool for Paul to join us. Hopefully he has his audio sorted out pretty soon. Maybe? We good? You hear me? We got you? All right.
Hello? Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. Back to the wired.
All right, yeah. I'm using wired headphones today too. Because my AirPods only last so long. No sensor protection. That's a feature that I love, but it doesn't have a mechanical shutter, so...
Yeah.
Okay. But definitely still likes the camera. As a C80 owner and looking at the C50 specs, please give the CD 6K 60 XAVC.
Yeah.
Again, these are sort of along the same lines of what we're talking about, right? Lower bit rate, full resolution
Lower
options.
bit rate, codec,
Yeah. Okay. I think we're all kind of asking for the same sort of thing. Give more options. Because I think a lot of us like to shoot in the higher resolution, but we just don't want to deal with the bit rate of the RAW and the playability and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, understandable.
Okay.
So.
Okay. This is another speculative question. Brian's asking the tough questions for you. Full frame GGO, is that something we could hope for at some point? Or is the C70 sort of C70 C300 Mark III? I know there's like a huge, everyone loves those cameras, so.
I personally hope so. I would love to see a full frame DGO sensor. I think if they tried to do it right now, the readout speed of the sensor wouldn't be great. At full frame. I just don't think they're, it's time yet for it. But I think I hope so. I really do love the DGO sensor. So.
So we're looking at C400 as the top of the line right now for Canon Cinema. Like, do you think we're going to see something above that anytime in the near future?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
honestly. Um, it would be, you know, it'd be interesting, but I don't know. I feel like it's hard to see any company, really pushing, out there beyond something that level these days. Um, because it's that kind of marketplace now. So,
Okay, I hear that.
you know.
They should have dropped photo mode altogether and create a stills capability in video mode. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Well, I know there's a lot of people who like the fact that you can, like on the mirrorless cameras, you could be in, photo mode and just hit a button and it'll record in like C3 or
Start
whatever it
record.
is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you can like just do both sort of simultaneously. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another question. People are trying to problem solve. If you are trying to get a higher bitrate, can you write across two cards
I see. Good idea.
on the C80?
I don't know. I don't know if the camera's capable of doing that,
Okay.
but good idea.
Well, it can write to
You
both
know.
cards, but splitting the data between
Well,
two might be,
you're talking about going and boom, 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 right? Like,
or just
that
like
kinda,
writing
yeah.
half the information to both cards.
Sure. Hey man, that's yeah. I would
Imagine,
love
imagine
for
if
them
you
to pursue
imagine if you
something
take
like
that back, and then they're like, "We figured out how to do it from Josh's live stream." Thank you, Bird of Prey.
So there was a recorder, if you remember the Convergent Design Odyssey 7 recorder. This was maybe 10 years ago at this point or something like that. But the way that was able to actually record, at a certain frame rate was like it would span both cards like that, and it would
Okay.
you know so. And I just
All right.
remember from that recorder though was like when he had to actually put those files back together, it was really hit or miss. So
All right. So someone's asking for an R5C2. Is that? Are we not talking about R5C2s anymore? I
I have
feel
no
like
idea.
I feel like
I
we
have
keep
no
asking
idea.
you what's coming. I know you don't know or can't
I
tell
have
us.
no
So
idea.
I know. Why can't this might be a hard question too? Go for a larger
Mm,
screen. I think a lot of people are pretty excited about the new Nikon having a 4-inch screen. I hope that
a 4-inch screen. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't speculate on this one. You know, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
R5CC log 2. Tyler's asking about the 1DC.
Oh, 1DC. Yeah, 1DC. Wow.
What's up, Tyler? Want a mirrorless
So
C100? Yeah, go. What you can say?
go back to the XC10 one actually.
Yeah.
So this is actually really funny because when my coworker and I we do the trainings for Canon together, and we kind of create a lot of the materials together. And when we first had the camera in our hands, the C50, we were like, man, this is what the XC10 should have been back then. Um, so those XC cameras had they had the zoom, the built-in zoom lens, right? And with the dial with the zoom rocker and everything like that. But everybody, when that came out, everybody went to get one of those without the lens. They wanted an EF mount on those things. Um, so yeah, it feels kind of like a grown up XC camera. Yeah.
So this is I'm not like planting these questions. These are Alexander. There's a lot of. It looks like there's a lot of people asking for this. This is like definitely a thing that.
Yeah.
So.
It seems to be a lot of people really want this. And I agree. I think
Yeah,
it would be
I think
great.
the reality,
So
especially with
it's
like.
yeah.
Yeah, I think with the reality of who this camera is aimed at and the people that are interested in this camera, we're doing social media content. We're doing corporate work.
Yeah.
We're not doing high end. I mean, you can use it for that, but I think a lot of people are going to be using it for like I'm going to shoot real estate video with this camera and things like that. Or like I do with the C80. Like I don't want to use RAW on this because it's really heavy. It's like a huge file. It's hard for my computer. But having 6K would be really cool. So it seems like this question's coming up over and over in different forms for different cameras.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So I love to hear it. I love to hear that so many people really want this. It really is. It helps me really push for these things when I go back to the product groups and everything like that. So
cool. I think across the board, the higher resolution, lower bit rate options are great. But I think what really started this whole discussion was the open gate on the C50.
Sure. Yeah.
Paul will not tell me offline. I grill Paul all the time. He's very good about not telling me things. Trust me, Mac. The C50 is a great new C100. I feel like the C50 is kind of in its own world. It'd be interesting to see something lower. I don't know.
The C100, because it has that top handle, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Had the C100 was a beloved camera, I gotta say. I thought like the C100 Mark II was served me really, really well for years.
I had one for a bit. I really liked that camera.
Yeah.
All right. How about a hot shoe mounted EVF? I know this has been asked for all manufacturers because that really doesn't exist right now. I think that would be a really cool answer.
So I agree. I've been pushing for one since the first time I heard about this camera, about the C50. And so what's funny is that, do you remember the Canon M line of cameras?
Yes.
There was a hot shoe mounted EVF.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah, like on the was it like the M6 Mark II or one of those cameras?
So they had several of them. Several of them had built-in viewfinders, but then we made a separate viewfinder that slid into the shoe on all of the M cameras, and it could be used as a viewfinder. And it was like,
I totally forgot about. Can you use that on any of the R series cameras?
No.
Of course not.
No. Totally different shoe. Totally different shoe.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's a great idea. Yeah.
I could see that being sold for. Oh, this doesn't have like a communicative hot shoe, right? The C80?
It's the same shoe. It's the same shoe
as the 50.
It's called the multifunction shoe, and the C400 has it, the C80 has it, and now the C50 has it.
Oh, I didn't see the contacts. They're up inside of there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, EVF. Put that on the list. I'm trying here, guys. Paul's holding strong, though. He's holding strong. I wish the C50 had triple base ISO from the C80 or a dual base of 800 and 12,800. So we were trying to,
because it's like like the FX3, right, is 800 and 12,800. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I understand. I just want to say is I find the 6400 to be really nice. It's really kind of a nice spot for it. So try it out. See.
I will.
Yeah.
I know. I really like. I've said this so many times over and over in live streams in my own videos that I don't like 12,800 because I don't shoot in the dark, but I do shoot like real estate, for example, where you're not great lit interiors, where 3,200, 4,000 really helps a lot as a second base. 6,400 would, if it's as clean as like 3,200, 4,000, that would be fine with me. I can even stop down a little bit and get a little bit more in focus. That would be fine when I'm doing that kind of work. So I know we were speculating before, and Paul, we haven't talked about this, but I was curious and I know you didn't know the answer. Was the decision at 6,400, was it like based on the sensor design? This is my own thoughts, or was it like we need to go after that higher ISO to sort of compete with the FX3? That was sort of the debate that I had in my own head.
Yeah. Again, I just can't speculate there on that decision.
Yeah. I know I'm just chiming in on my thoughts about it because I know we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, it has something to do with the design of the sensor.
Yeah, I figured that too.
And so, yeah.
Does the fan grip for the R52 work on the C50?
Not it officially. We're not saying that it will, but I've seen other grips that worked on the that worked on the one that has the Wi-Fi or the Ethernet connector. I've been
Okay.
able to put it into my C50. It doesn't really recognize it, but it recognizes it as a battery source. So,
So
um,
maybe you could use that as a
but
dual battery source, but the fan may not work.
the fan may not work. You shouldn't need it though. It has a
No.
fan. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
But I'm wondering if, like, because I know Tyler has one of those, so I'm wondering if,
Oh,
you
okay.
could use that as for his R5 too. I'm wondering if he could then use that as a battery grip for the C50 without having to buy a new grip.
I'll give it a shot. Josh, I'll give it a shot, and then I'll let you know
Okay,
what I find. So
that's a fair
yeah,
question. I think that's a pretty niche
yeah, I
case,
think
but
so.
if okay,
Yeah, hold on, I'm writing it down.
okay.
Yeah,
Max says, I defeats the purpose. If you put a grip on the C50, you might as well take the C80. Yeah, but if you only buy one camera, then you have the option to make it run longer.
yeah.
Okay, we're RAID 0 again. Okay, what about
Yep,
R5
great.
Mark II open gate, Paul? These are all...
And yeah, I know. That is, the one thing I can say is that is not my department. That's the
Yeah, so
EO still side of
Paul's going to punt on
Canon
that
right
one.
there.
Okay. Just looking through some of these comments. Mac just sold a bunch of gear and he's like now excited about the C50. Can you get him a bunch of discounts on lenses? That's what Mac wants to know. Hey, I haven't even gotten discounts from Canon.
I'm going to tell you, I don't get an employee discount.
You don't?
No. So unfortunately, I can't.
So you still have a C100 Mark II? Is that what you're saying? No, I'm just kidding. So question about the C50 top handle. You said it only works. You already answered that. It only works on the C50.
Yeah. Yeah, only for the C50.
Yeah, and there's no plans on selling it without the top handle.
Yeah.
Please give a 6K 60. Dude, this is like the biggest question. Is this open gate or higher res? Yeah. Yeah. Can you talk more about the upcoming firmware updates? I know you mentioned the
Yeah.
the preview LUT or the view assist on the preview. What, anything else we can expect?
Yeah, so there's quite a few things, like some minute things. So one of them actually is something that's been really important to me that I've been pushing for a long time now. Is that the focus peaking has changed with these updates. And so I don't know if you ever tried to use on any of your C400, C80, use focus peaking at a higher ISO. I don't know if you've tried to do that or not. What happens is that the peaking reflects off of the noise.
Noise. Yep.
Yeah, and so it creates a wash in the color. So they're changing that to where it's not going to do that anymore. And now it will only reflect off of the hard edges. So it actually will be, because one of the issues is if you were to try to use that peaking in a dark, at a higher ISO in a dark area, you would look at your screen and it would just be like awash in red or yellow or whatever your focus peaking color was. And it would not really help you. So now this is going to change that. This is going to be, make that usable for your higher ISO peaking. I'm just like really, it's something I've been pushing for a while now to get that changed, and so I'm glad that's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, talked about the obviously the open gate for the C400, the adding the view assists into the C80, C400 as well. You'll be able to use your LUTs as well, which even now that also does not have that. So there's some very, very minute things they are adding. This is getting into the weeds a little bit, but if you assign a button for the teleconverter, right now you push the assignable button, it turns the teleconverter on, and then you have to keep pushing the button to cycle through 1.5 times, 2 times, 3 times, and then push it again to turn it off.
Uh-huh.
They're now adding assignable buttons for each level of that. So instead of having to cycle through all of them, you can, if I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use the 2 times teleconverter. I can assign just the 2 times teleconverter and have that on and off. They're also adding some more levels into what you can assign for autofocus to the buttons. So instead of what I'm talking about there, I'm talking about the on-screen display, like the boxes and the zones. Before you had to cycle through the zones. If you hit assign a button, now you can choose which zones you want to an assignable button and just have that be a very binary thing, want on or off as well.
Okay.
Additionally, I'm going to get even deeper into this for Frame IO. This is very, very small, but if you were to use Frame IO and you did, say, you queued up a whole bunch of clips into your Frame IO and it was going, when you went to go look at the status screen, it would not tell you a percentage. It would just tell you a bar, like, of what your clips have left. So they're adding a percentage number now to tell you, in addition to a bar for your progress.
Okay.
There. Yeah, they're also having the ability, when you're in media playback mode, to assign a button to select a clip to send that clip to Frame IO. Like some very, very, very small kind of things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna cover the big ones. There's some smaller ones beyond that as well, but yeah.
Okay. I just want to recognize Mac with the super chat. This is very informative and helpful for future decision making. Thanks, Josh. You're welcome, man. Thanks Mac again for the support like usual, but also thanks to Paul for coming. I know this is super cool to have you here to nerd out with us. I'd like to have camera nerds on here every Thursday. That'd be great. All right, let me see where I was in here. I know there's a lot of questions. This is about the pricing. I know it's not really Paul's area. Lower the price of the R5C to compete with the FX2 since the C50 competes with the FX3. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
When will Canon make a decent app similar to Sony's M&C in functionality? Well, I think that
I'll be... Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know much about M&C. Is it a control app? Is it like a...
Monitor control, yeah.
The MCCA that we have is pretty good. But again, it's laggy on the live view. But in terms of control, you have a lot of control out of that app with these cameras.
I played with it a little bit. But it was like, I could see it being useful. But you have to have all the cameras. I remember when you guys announced that, and I was like, R5C, you're like...
Well, that's, that brings up, because it's our control protocol is called XC protocol.
Yep.
And it's basically our unification control protocol over IP. And it's in the C50, which is, I think for me, like, that's a huge thing that was missing. It was missing from the R5C, and I'm glad that we put it into the C50. So yeah.
All right. Questions about OLPFs. Is there one in the C50?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do all Canon cameras have optical low-pass filters?
Yes.
Okay. I thought so too. Oh man. I think there's a lot of questions about this where people, I know it's separate divisions within Canon, but people are, like, why can't we get the same autofocus stuff in the cinema line that we get in the mirrorless line? I guess that's basically the question.
Yeah. To be frank with you, it comes down to the division between the two, I say two different companies, but like two different like sides of the camera side of Canon. It's
so now everyone sees. Yeah, no, I was gonna say now everyone sees why the R5C was such a big deal. You guys had to talk to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the trend, again, this is just me speculating, but I kind of see the trend is leading towards more of a melding of the two sides and eventual unification maybe one day
We like to hear that.
of that, you know. So
what about OpenGate on the R50V? I don't know if you know about that. That's not in your world, right?
I actually have the R50V. I kind of like it, but I don't think you'll see OpenGate in that. Yeah.
Okay. How about
So-
the whole discussion of third-party lenses in full frame for RF?
You know, it's to say, is, you know, I again, like personally, I hope so. And so, but yeah, it's something that we just keep pushing, and
Okay.
you know,
We'll keep
So-
bugging you guys. This
Keep
is a
bugging,
question about
keep bugging, please.
vehicle autofocus. We already talked about that. You guys are hopefully trying to add that to the C50.
So again, it's feedback that we got to push. So
Yep. Oh God, everyone's asking about OpenGate on there. Same questions. Same questions. He's a good politician. Oh, Alexander. Nah, you got it today.
I know Alexander, so I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah.
Do we have 120 and 180 FPS in the C50 with audio baked in like the R5 Mark II? Because you have to
No,
use SNF
it's-
mode, right?
Yes, exactly. When you go into the SNF mode, it cuts out the audio. So
Okay. Sounds like the audio is cutting out. I don't know what I could... YouTube is not saying there's an issue. I hear Paul fine. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. Another Canon episode on the B&H live stream. It was only oversampled into 4K 30 as well. Okay. Well, hopefully we can get some like legitimate confirmation. Maybe we can check afterwards or something.
yeah, I'm definitely sure that's that's what we're saying on it. So again, I think you caught an error on the website that needs to get fixed. So
Because that's a big deal, Paul.
Yeah.
Like that is for me personally,
Mhm.
that's a big deal for me for that camera. Because when I do real estate, it's 4K 60. So,
yeah, totally understandable.
can you use the C50 on the multicam app? You said yes, right?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, Mac's saying the same thing. Okay, now all the complaining is happening about the 4K 60. And the C80 is looking stronger. The thing about this too, Paul, is that the R5C does oversample 4K 60
Yeah, it does.
from 8K,
Yep.
and that's an older camera and a cheaper camera. Which cameras are 4K 60 oversampled? So R5C, the 80, and the 400.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and some of the mirrorless cameras too.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head about the mirrorless cameras, which ones those are, but
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. How much better is the video on the C50 than the R5C? I guess the big difference would be CLog 2. I don't know what else you could really talk about with that. Dynamic range is going to be better, maybe?
Dynamic range is probably going to be similar. Maybe a little bit better, especially in Super 35 mode. It will be better.
Okay, right.
Autofocus is going to be better. And then it's kind of the open gate after that. So, the R5C is still an excellent camera. Yeah.
Some more DGO fans. Would like to see parallel models of the C50 with and without IBIS, similar how to the 5DS and 5DSR had an option for the AA filter or not. That is interesting.
That's interesting. Yep.
Yeah, people are talking about CLog 2 being on the R5C. We all know that would be absolutely massive for people.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to bring up a lot of discussion, and I'm just started processing the information you gave me today, Paul, was the non-oversampled 4K 60. And if you're saying that the dynamic range is pretty similar on those two cameras, that's a big difference between those two cameras, that the C50 doesn't have the oversampled 4K 60. When we're talking about dynamic range, though, we're probably looking at RAW versus RAW, not CLog 2 in the C50 versus CLog 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It gets complicated.
Yeah, so...
All right, the C50 has OpenGate and HEVC-S long op at 480 megabits, which should be able to fit on SD cards. Oh, there you go.
No.
So he's pushing for the OpenGate on the C80. HEVC-S long op. Is that true? The C50 OpenGate in HEVC-S is only 480 megabits per second? I don't know what the bit rates are for those, for the OpenGate.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know either. I just gotta look it up real fast.
Okay, I'll look through the comments
But
here.
we'll see. Yeah. Let's see.
Are you looking up the bit rate right now? Paul, I want to keep
Yeah,
the time too.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
So, yep.
You are welcome, Mohammed. Paul's not going to tell you about the R6 Mark III. He's a politician. As Paul's looking that up, I'm
Yeah,
just going through some comments.
Alex.
Is he right?
Alex is not wrong. So
I didn't think he would be wrong.
HEVC. Yep.
Okay, and that's 7K.
So, I mean-
so 6K should be possible. If you said the limit was
Nope.
675 megabits, right?
Yeah, typically. So it should. So technically, yeah, it should be possible in HEVC.
We don't care. We'll take what
So-
we can get, you know? And
So-
that would only be up to like 30 frames per second, I'm sure.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we don't have to do the RAID 0 card configuration like we were talking about.
It would not net you your RAW, but
No.
technically it would be. Yeah.
But we already know that going into buying a C80, you know you're pretty limited in RAW on that camera to 6K 30 because of the SD cards.
Right. Yeah.
Paul's asking why the 7K sensor seemed like it came out of nowhere. Was there any sort of discussion about 7K?
Yeah, it came out of nowhere for me too. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it mainly to get higher
Just
resolution on the
like-
still side? Because it seems like more of a photo size
That's what
resolution.
it seems like to. I mean, I would think that's a pretty good conjecture. I would say.
Okay.
Because it becomes 32 megapixel, which is a nice still megapixel size. So, yeah. But who knows? Who knows?
This question is, would we pay for firmware update for the R5C to have OpenGate and CLog 2? I think people would pay for that. I would pay for that.
Yeah, we really try not to do. Well, I don't think we've ever done a paid firmware update, except for the original C300 to get autofocus put into it.
Okay. Wasn't
That was
CLog 2 added to the C300 or something? Was that a paid upgrade or was that not a paid upgrade?
That wasn't paid. That was a regular firmware update.
Wait, you had to pay for CLog on the 5D4 or something, right? Wasn't that a thing?
Yes, you are correct there.
Okay.
You are correct there. Yep.
That's before my time, but I do know that
So-
fact. Okay. Not many
Yeah,
situations.
pay for that one. It's very, very few that they do paid. We try not to do paid updates. So
Honestly, though, if you did offer those things or even
Yeah.
just CLog 2, people would pay money for that. Honestly, people would pay money.
that's a good If people would be down for that, I will push for it.
Yeah,
and
I
see.
would. I mean,
You know?
if you said, hey, if you can pay $100 or $200 to get CLog 2 in the R5C, I bet you most R5C users would pay that money.
Well, that's a good question. I'm speaking purely hypothetically. You know, what would people what would you pay for CLog 2 in the R5C?
All right, let
How
us know,
much?
guys. Paul's
Yeah.
going to pocket the money and then make it happen. I'm just kidding. He's not going to tell people. We'll set up a whole separate thing for you guys to buy firmware updates. Paul Alexander's talking about the 7K. Yeah, he's talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there
Great.
we go. That firmware update would make them more money than all the cameras. Oh man, what about working with Atomos for touch control? Have you guys looked at any of that kind of stuff for their monitors for like touch focus and things like that?
I believe we're in talks with all of those companies because I've been pushing for it very strongly, and you know, yeah.
Okay. What about playback LUT to the R5C? Does that not have the View Assist on playback?
That firmware update I talked about, you should be getting it there.
Okay,
The
cool.
one-
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's coming out
So-
like December-ish or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We don't have
So-
a firm date for that either, but yeah.
Okay, the crop ratio in Super 35, do you know what that crop ratio is on the C50?
It should be 1.5 from. So yeah, so it's 1.5 times for Super
Okay.
35.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And, okay, we're adding to the list here. CLog 2 Obligate and 120 frames per second autofocus tracking. You'd have a hard time selling the C50. All right, Paul, you got enough R5C. Yeah, this is definitely my question that I just asked you before. If the R5C can do it with 8K, the C50, which is 3 or 4 years newer at 7K, they both have CFB cards.
Well, here's what I'm going to do is I will ask straight up, and if I'm able to actually get like a answer that I can talk about,
Okay.
I will come back and I will do it.
Okay. Or
Yeah.
if you can't
Or
make
I'll
it to a
talk
stream,
or I'll talk to you. Yeah.
and
yeah.
I relay the information.
I think it's a fair question. And so I'll do my best to find out.
Yeah, because honestly, Paul, like that's a big deal breaker for me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I know you got to go soon, Paul. Let me try to get through these questions. 32-bit float audio. This is interesting because we're starting to see these other companies, 32-bit float audio, 4-inch LCD screens, like that just came out in the Nikon cameras. Now all the stuff's going to be asked for in like all these cameras. So
I would love to see 32-bit float come. I would love to see it happen. So, yep. Thanks, Alex.
Pretty sure we owe Paul dinner after this. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I love to hear what people want.
Yeah, I mean, now that I know that you want to hear it,
yeah,
I'm happy to compile the information for you too.
And it can only help, but it's the gears of bureaucracy do move slowly. So it's but we do our best, and absolutely.
Yep, people are still asking for that.
Yeah.
Lower. Yep. We're not.
Yep.
He's still talking about the RFIC2. If the C50 doesn't oversample, people are still going to be asking for the RFIC2. It's a big deal for a lot of us. Let me see here. This is probably not a question you can answer. R5 getting new features in either photo or video? I know that's not in the cinema line.
Yeah, not that I know of. Just keep looking for firmware updates. They're usually pretty good with over time with that. So,
let's see here. Man, there's a lot of questions. Will the Will the WFT R10 work with the C50 to give you Ethernet?
I've put it on there. It will not give you Ethernet. Um, the Ethernet for the C50 is use a USB-C dongle,
Okay.
a USB-C
Which is
adapter.
what you could do on like the C70, and because I've hooked that into the Ethernet before.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peaking, I know it. So that firmware you were talking about was for all the cameras or just the C80, C400?
It should be all. Let me confirm because I don't want to screw this up, but it should be for all of those cameras. Yeah. It is for, yes, C80, C70, C400, and R5C.
Cool. And Adrian's excited about the teleconverter button firmware update. That's awesome.
Cool.
More autofocus choices and a firmware update like cars on the C400. Not on this firmware update, right?
Not this one. But it does sound like a lot of people do want the vehicle to be added into this. So that's, feedback for me to take,
Yeah.
for me to write down. Yeah.
I know Griffin Conway is like very much dying to get vehicle autofocus in those cameras.
I'm sure.
All right, Paul, I don't want to keep you, man. I know you got to bounce. Let me just... Is there anything else you want to add? There's a lot of questions in here, but...
No, not really. This is a very... One thing that I think will get overlooked with the C50 is that the webcam capability of it is actually the best performing webcam we have.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And you're talking about like when you plug it in with... Yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So it will actually it will give you up to 60 frames, which none of our other cameras can do. They can only everything else can only go up to 30. This will not only give you up to 60, depending of course on your connection and everything, but also you get UAF with it, so you get audio through your camera. So if you have a nice mic set up on your camera, everything like that, you could just run all of that through the camera itself. You don't need to use a separate audio source or anything. Yeah.
Oh, people are gonna. You're gonna have
I know.
rioters.
So here's what I'm going to do is I want to absolutely 100. What I'll do, Josh, right?
Yeah.
Is I'm gonna attack this first.
Okay.
Right. And I'm gonna get back to you, as soon as I can with language here, and hopefully that it will. Hopefully, I'm able to relieve some concern. That's my goal. So,
yeah. Okay. Jordan says he'll pay $1,000 for that CLog 2 update. Just saying.
Wow.
Max says 200. I think 200 would be no question. I would pay 200 for that update personally. Oh, he's saying 1,000. You were asking $1,000 for CLog 2. Oh, people want this, man. Man. Please send me and Josh a pre-release C50 for review. So many reviews on YouTube have so much minimal footage. Yeah, Alexander, I hear you. That's not really Paul's department, but we can pass that along. I think the biggest thing...
I could push for it, yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think Alexander and I were exchanging comments about this too, but, that's one of the questions I asked you was, like, what's the image like? Because I didn't really see a lot of examples of, like, actually, like, nice looking shot graded footage from the people that had the cameras early. Like there wasn't much in terms of footage that we saw pre-release. And that's something I'm curious about is like, actually, how does the image look? And I don't know until I shoot with it or see people that are shooting with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I understand. And even, like the, I don't know if you saw the film that they did, the PA, the production assistant. Did you see that?
Yeah.
So that was shot that doesn't really give you a good sense because that was shot very much in like they were using a ton of vintage lenses on that. So if you're looking for the straight nuts and bolts, put on like a very high resolution RF lens, straight to sensor. I don't know if there's a lot of footage out there like that right now.
Right.
Because
I'm just saying.
everybody's been using a lot of vintage lenses and things and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it, absolutely.
And just to drive this point home, you can tell how upset we are
Mm-hmm.
about this. This is a really big deal for a lot of us. I know, like Brian does a lot of real estate stuff too, so that's a huge
Okay.
mode for us. Cool. Well, Paul, let me let you go, man. I know you got to bounce. And like I said, huge thanks for coming on and all the support you've offered
Yeah.
me over the years too for answering questions. But I gave you a lot to bring to Canon after this.
I love it. I really appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everybody with comments and questions, and I appreciate the feedback. And my job is just to try to take that and try to really push and get what I can get. And also, my job is to be there for you and everything like that, and hopefully make the process easier. So.
Well, we appreciate the information and giving us an avenue for feedback, because I think a lot of people kind of feel lost without being able to like voice their complaints and like bounce around in comment sections of YouTube videos and on threads or whatever. It's different from actually being able to give you guys that information.
Yeah, and you don't have to like go to a trade show to try to find a rep on the trade show floor. That's very difficult. So yes, again, and it goes both ways. I also appreciate being able to hang out and chat. So
yeah. Well, Paul, thanks again, man. I'll let you go, and we'll be in touch for sure.
All right. Thank you very much. And I will try to get back to you as soon as possible.
I appreciate it, man.
So.
I appreciate it.
All right.
All right, guys. So huge thanks to Paul for coming by. Hopefully I got some questions answered for you, but if not, we definitely were able to get some information passed off to Canon. Sounds like Paul enjoyed it as well. So I'll keep you guys posted about the any information I get, and also we'll see about live streams coming up. Like I said, there'll be a little bit of a break coming up soon, but I think I'm going to hopefully try to do some more of these kinds of things with connections, people at camera companies and stuff, so you guys can have access to them and ask questions and things like that. I think that'd be really cool. So with that, I think I'm going to get out of here, and we'll see you guys real soon. I really appreciate all the support as usual. Thanks so much for coming by. Take care, guys.